Chosen one, hear me clearly. What you have been walking through was not random. It was not punishment. It was a test so sacred, so hidden, that even you may not have realized what was happening in the moment. But heaven knew. Heaven was watching. And when you stood in that place of decision, when you chose faith over fear, integrity over compromise, and truth over lies, the smile of God broke through the unseen realm. This is not just another message. This is a divine announcement over your life. For too long you've been questioning, why did I have to endure this? Why was I put in that position? Why did it feel like everything and everyone was weighing on me, pressing me, testing me? And yet, you came through. Not perfect, not flawless, but faithful. And that faithfulness, chosen one, carried a fragrance that rose into the throne room of heaven. Imagine this. All of creation paused. The angels leaned forward. The scroll of your destiny was opened, and a new line was written because you passed what others thought would break you. This wasn't just a challenge. This wasn't just a trial. This was the moment of proof. Proof that the one who called you was right about you. Proof that the anointing on your life is not wasted. Proof that you are not like the rest. And here's the mystery. The very thing that was designed to humiliate you, God turned into the very thing that exalted you in the heavenly courts. When you refused to bow to bitterness. When you didn't curse God in your pain. When you chose to still believe that there was purpose in the pressure, that was the hour that the heavens rejoiced. That was the test that made heaven smile. But don't think for a second this was ordinary. This wasn't a test written by human hands. This was orchestrated from eternity. You were chosen to stand in it. And now, you are chosen to rise from it. There is a blessing on the other side of this obedience that will make everything make sense. And I will tell you, before this message is over, exactly why this test came, what it unlocked, and how it is about to transform your life. Chosen one, lean in, don't scroll away, because what I'm about to reveal will explain the midnight battles, the unexplainable losses, and the strange breakthroughs that followed. Heaven has smiled at you, and when heaven smiles, nothing on earth can stop what comes next. And as the unseen realm leaned in, what happened next was not silence, it was confirmation. For the Spirit of God bore witness in that hour that your endurance was not overlooked. The very heavens that smiled over you also declared, "This one is mine. This one belongs to me." It wasn't simply about the trial you faced. It was about who authored the trial. The one who spoke galaxies into being permitted the weight you carried, not because he desired to see you crushed, but because he desired to see you crowned. There are moments in life when the sovereign hand of God allows a shaking so that the roots of your faith might show themselves strong. That was this moment. That was this test. You see, the true measure of a soul isn't found when life is easy. It's revealed when the winds howl, when the fire burns, when the betrayal cuts deep. And though people may have doubted you, though even you questioned whether you could make it through, God never doubted. From the beginning, He declared, "My strength is made perfect in weakness." And so, when you were weakest, His strength carried you across the line. This is why you must understand what you endured was sacred. Every tear shed, every sleepless night, every whisper of prayer that felt like it bounced off the walls, they were all collected. The book of remembrance in heaven recorded them. Not one moment was wasted. The divine author was writing a story so much larger than the pain itself. And now, that story is shifting chapters. There are tests that are merely for growth. But this test was for recognition. Heaven recognized you. The angels recognized you. And most importantly, the Father's gaze settled upon you with delight. For when others compromised, you held the line. When others retreated, you stayed the course. And it was not your strength alone, it was the Spirit within you that proved unbreakable. So hear this with clarity. What has been confirmed in heaven cannot be revoked by earth. No voice of slander, no scheme of darkness, no whisper of accusation can overturn the divine verdict spoken over your life. You have been approved. You have been sealed. You have been marked as one who endured. And it is this approval that sets the stage for what is about to be unveiled. Because when heaven smiles, heaven also releases. There is a release waiting on the horizon, a release of clarity, of provision, of open doors that no man can shut. And the very authority that tested you is the same authority that will now elevate you. Stay attentive. For what comes next is not theory. It is prophecy. What I am about to declare is the unveiling of the very thing your spirit has been sensing in the quiet, the next step in the unfolding of your destiny. There is a moment in every destiny where what was hidden in the shadows begins to break into the light. You have felt it, that stirring deep within you that words cannot quite explain. It has been like a whisper carried by the wind, like a fragrance you recognize but cannot fully name. That whisper was prophecy. That fragrance was destiny. And now, what was concealed in mystery is being revealed with clarity. The test you endured was not simply about survival. It was about unlocking something in the spirit that could not be released any other way. What heaven smiled at was not merely your endurance, but your alignment. You aligned your heart with God when everything around you was trying to push you out of place. You refused to bend to bitterness. You refused to abandon the secret place. You chose to believe that even in silence, He was still speaking. And because you did, the gates of release have opened. Here is the unveiling. You are standing on the threshold of a divine exchange. What was once loss will be turned to gain. What was once ridicule will become recognition. What was once pain will become power. This is the shift where ashes are exchanged for beauty, where heaviness is exchanged for a garment of praise, where closed doors are exchanged for doors so wide that no one will be able to deny who opened them. Do not think it strange that the warfare increased before this moment. It was the last push of resistance from the forces that knew what was coming. The enemy is not omniscient, but he can sense when heaven is preparing to pour something out. And the closer you drew to this unveiling, the greater the opposition became. Yet, the very resistance became confirmation. The storm that tried to drown you only proved that you were crossing into another shore. This is the prophetic truth. You were not just being tested, you were being presented. Heaven has presented you before principalities as proof that God's investment in you was not wasted. And because you passed, the verdict has been rendered. Now begins the season of manifestation. What was delayed will begin to accelerate. What was hidden will begin to emerge. What was resisted will suddenly break through. I see the image of a door swinging open, but not slowly. It bursts open as if it had been waiting for permission. That permission was granted the moment heaven smiled. And now, those doors will not just lead you into opportunity, they will lead you into fulfillment. The dreams you buried will breathe again. The visions you tucked away will awaken. The resources that seemed impossible will arrive at the exact appointed time. But here is the mystery. The unveiling is not just about external blessing. It is about internal transformation. The true prophecy is not simply that you will receive it, is that you have become. You have become someone heaven can trust. You have become someone whose heart is aligned with eternal things. You have become the very vessel that can carry what is too heavy for others. This unveiling is not just about what comes to you. It is about what comes through you. So prepare yourself. The world will soon see what heaven already celebrated. The testimony of your endurance will become the announcement of your elevation. And just as heaven smiled when you passed the test, the earth will soon marvel when they see the fruit that springs forth from your life. The prophecy is clear. The test was the doorway, the endurance was the key, and the reward is already on its way. Every test in your life has layers. On the surface, it feels like pressure, discomfort, or even chaos. But beneath the surface, there is a divine architecture, a pattern woven by unseen hands. The trial you just endured, the one that caused heaven to smile, was not simply about enduring hardship, it was about shaping your spirit into alignment with eternal principles. Think of it like this. A seed planted in the soil disappears beneath the ground. To the eye, it looks buried, it looks lost. But in reality, the darkness is where transformation begins. What presses against you does not destroy the seed, it awakens it. The soil that looks like a grave is actually a womb, and so it was with you. The test you endured was the soil. What felt like burial was actually planting, and now the roots of your destiny have gone deeper than ever before. This is the mystery of divine timing. God does not rush fruit, He cultivates it. He allows seasons of pruning, of silence, of seeming abandonment, not to weaken you, but to strengthen you. Just as a tree must endure winter before it can flourish in spring, your spirit had to endure the season of testing before it could bear the weight of glory that is coming. Here is the deeper meaning. Heaven smiled not because you proved your strength, but because you revealed your surrender. Strength alone cannot carry the mantle you are called to bear. Surrender does. When you laid down your will, when you chose faith even without evidence, when you kept walking even when the path was invisible, that surrender echoed in eternity. It showed heaven that you were not just chasing blessing, you were pursuing the blesser himself. The storm, the silence, the betrayal, they were all mirrors. They reflected what was inside of you, and what heaven saw in that reflection was gold, refined, tested, purified gold. That is why this test matters so deeply. It separated you from the shallow, from the superficial, from the ones who live only for applause. You endured for something greater, something unseen. That is why your name is written in the story of heaven's delight. Do not underestimate the timing, for there is an appointed season in which seeds break the surface, and you are stepping into it. This is why the warfare increased, why the pressure intensified, because the enemy knows the law of the harvest. If he could have stopped you from remaining planted, he could have prevented the fruit, but he failed, and now the harvest cannot be withheld. Understand this principle. Every divine test carries three purposes. First, to reveal what is within you. Second, to refine what needs strengthening. And third, to release what has been waiting. You have passed through all three. What was revealed is your faith. What was refined is your endurance. And what is now being released is your inheritance. Think about the doors that are about to open. They are not ordinary doors. They are doors that others could not open for you. Doors that human effort could not manipulate. Doors that only heaven could prepare. This is why the test was required. Without the test, you would not be ready to walk through them. With the test behind you, those doors will not just open, they will remain open, because your character has been forged in the fire. And here is the truth you must carry. What heaven approves, hell cannot undo. The smile of God over your obedience is a seal that no voice of accusation can erase. This is why you can walk forward with confidence, not arrogance, confidence. Confidence that the same hand that tested you is the hand that now lifts you. Confidence that the same God who allowed the shaking is the God who now secures your steps. So let this sink in. The test was not about breaking you, but about revealing you. It was not about punishment, but about promotion. It was not about loss, but about positioning. And now, positioned in the center of divine timing, you are about to witness the outpouring of what has been hidden for so long. The depth of this meaning is clear. You were tested to prove that you could carry glory without being destroyed by it. You were tested to show that you could handle blessing without worshiping it. You were tested to demonstrate that you could walk in power without forgetting humility. And heaven smiled, because you passed. When heaven approves something, it does not stay invisible forever. The spiritual always ripples into the natural, and signs begin to show themselves. You may have already noticed them, but perhaps you didn't realize their weight. They were not coincidences, they were confirmations. The smile of God over your test is beginning to echo in your daily life, and the indicators are unfolding like markers on the path of destiny. The first sign is the shift in atmosphere around you. You sense it before others do. Rooms feel different when you enter. Conversations take on new tones when you speak. People who once overlooked you now feel unsettled in your presence, not because you changed in appearance, but because the weight of your spirit has increased. You carry a quiet authority, and even those who cannot explain it begin to notice it. That shift is a sign. The second sign is the sudden stirring of dreams and visions. Your nights are no longer random. Your sleep has become a canvas. You see glimpses of places you have not yet walked, people you have not yet met, blessings you have not yet held. Sometimes it feels too vivid to dismiss, too prophetic to ignore. That is because heaven is revealing what is already prepared, painting it into your spirit before it manifests in your hand. The third sign is the reordering of relationships. Those who once walked closely may begin to drift. Those who once opposed you may suddenly quiet down. And unexpectedly, new connections begin to surface. People who speak life, people who bring clarity, people who align with your future instead of chaining you to the past. This is not accidental. Heaven rearranges your circle as evidence that you are entering a new chapter. The fourth sign is divine timing manifesting in small ways. Opportunities arrive without effort. A word of encouragement shows up exactly when you needed it. A closed door suddenly swings open without explanation. These are not random. They are heaven's way of saying, "See, the smile over your test is producing fruit." You begin to realize that what once required striving now happens with flow, because favor has been activated. The fifth sign is the deep peace within. Not the absence of storms, but the presence of stillness even in them. You wake up with an unexplainable assurance, as though something within you already knows it is settled. That peace is the seal of heaven, the whisper of the Spirit telling you, it is done. And the sixth sign is resistance, yes, even now. For sometimes the clearest confirmation that you are on the right path is the persistence of opposition. But here is the difference. This resistance does not shake you anymore. It does not break you like before. It only serves as another reminder that you have passed into a place the enemy cannot deny. These signs are not imagination. They are confirmation. They are heaven's fingerprints on your story, proving that the test you endured was not in vain. The unseen is speaking through the seen, and you are walking in the evidence of heaven's smile. But let me be clear, passing the test that made heaven smile does not mean the path ahead will be without resistance. In fact, there are hidden challenges woven into the journey that must still be faced. These challenges are not punishments. They are not signs of failure. They are thresholds. Every threshold requires courage to cross, and every elevation carries its own weight to bear. The first challenge will be the temptation to doubt what was already confirmed. Even after heaven smiles, the enemy whispers. He cannot erase the approval over your life, but he will attempt to make you question it. He will whisper, was it real? Did you imagine it? Could God truly be that pleased with you? These doubts are subtle, but they are designed to weaken your confidence. You must remember, what heaven approves, no voice of accusation can overturn. The second challenge will be loneliness. After such a test, your spirit no longer fits into the places it once did. Old circles feel foreign. Old conversations feel shallow. You will feel the pull of separation not because you are prideful, but because you are being refined for greater things. In those moments, the silence of friends may sting, but it will also remind you that your companionship with God has grown deeper than ever before. The third challenge will be the delay between promise and manifestation. Even with heaven's approval, the timeline of earth moves differently. You may feel as though the doors are slow to swing wide. This is where impatience can creep in. But understand, the wait is not empty. It is incubation. It is the Spirit preparing the ground so that when the door opens, it does not just open for a moment, but remains open for a lifetime. The fourth challenge will be subtle attacks against your identity. The enemy knows he cannot steal your calling, so he will attempt to distort your view of yourself. He will send voices that belittle, circumstances that seem to contradict your value, and even inner doubts that make you feel unworthy. But remember, the smile of heaven is the greatest confirmation of your worth. If God calls you chosen, no label from man can reduce you. And the fifth challenge will be the weight of responsibility. With new doors comes new stewardship. With fresh favor comes new accountability. This can feel overwhelming at times, as if you are carrying more than you can manage. But even here, you are not left alone. The same God who trusted you with the test is the God who will empower you with the grace to steward the blessing. So do not mistake these hidden challenges as setbacks. They are stepping stones. They are proof that your journey is still unfolding. You have passed one test, but life is a series of elevations, each requiring another layer of surrender, another measure of trust. And each time you endure, the smile of heaven grows wider, the applause of angels grows louder, and your spirit becomes stronger. The truth is, the hidden challenges are not meant to stop you, they are meant to shape you. And if you endured the test that just passed, you already carry the strength to endure what is still ahead. Every revelation demands a response. Every test that has been passed creates the need for new instruction. Because you endured, because you proved faithful, the Spirit now speaks with clarity. This is how you must walk in the days ahead. These are not suggestions. They are not optional guidelines. They are divine instructions, a holy roadmap designed to ensure that what you have unlocked does not slip through your hand. The first instruction is to guard your heart with vigilance. The test refined you, but now the blessing will test you in a different way. Blessing can sometimes be more dangerous than trial, because it carries the temptation of comfort, distraction, and pride. Guard your heart, so that you remain anchored in humility and devotion. Keep your eyes fixed not on the gifts but on the giver, Remind yourself daily, I did not get here by my strength, but by His grace. The second instruction is to remain rooted in prayer. The silence you endured trained your ears to recognize God's whisper. Do not abandon that intimacy now that doors are opening. In fact, lean deeper into it. Set aside time that belongs to Him alone. Protect the secret place with fierceness. For prayer is not just your weapon, it is your lifeline. The same communion that carried you through the storm will carry you into your season of fruitfulness. The third instruction is to walk in discernment. Every open door is not a divine door. Every invitation is not an assignment. You must test the spirits. You must weigh opportunities in prayer. The enemy would love to slip a counterfeit blessing into your path, to distract you or drain you. But if you remain discerning, the Spirit will highlight the authentic and expose the false. Trust the inner nudge, the subtle pull of the Spirit, even when it contradicts logic. The fourth instruction is to steward what you are given. Promotion is not for status, it is for service. Influence is not for ego, it is for impact. When resources come, when opportunities arrive, when people look to you, remember that all of it is meant to flow through you, not just to you. Hold what God gives with open hands. Use it to bless, to build, to restore. For to whom much is given, much will always be required. The fifth instruction is to stay anchored in community. While God will separate you from certain people, He will also align you with new ones. Do not isolate yourself. Seek those who sharpen your spirit, who speak truth when you need it most, who carry their own oil and anointing. Walk with the wise, and you will grow wise. The next season will require counsel, accountability, and the strength of those walking the same narrow road. The sixth instruction is to protect your tongue. The authority on your words has increased. Heaven has confirmed you, which means your speech carries weight in the Spirit. Do not use your words carelessly. Do not curse what God is still forming. Speak life, prophesy, hope. Declare the promises even when you do not see them yet. Your tongue has become a tool of creation. Wield it with reverence. And the seventh instruction is to walk boldly. Do not shrink back. Do not downplay what God has done in you to make others comfortable. You endured a test few could bear. You have been entrusted with a mantle few will understand. This is not the time to hide. This is the time to step into the fullness of who you are becoming. Boldness is not arrogance. Boldness is obedience. When God says, move, move. When He says, speak, speak. When He says, stand, stand even if you stand alone. If you follow these instructions, you will not only hold on to the blessing, you will multiply it. You will not only walk into the promise, you will sustain it. For heaven did not smile over you just for a moment of triumph, but for a lifetime of testimony. These instructions are your safeguard, your compass, your guarantee that the work begun in you will not be cut short. So write them upon your heart. Guard your spirit. Pray without ceasing. Discern with precision. Steward with humility. Walk in community. Speak with reverence. Live with boldness. These are the holy instructions for the season you have just entered. And now, let your heart be still. For the God who tested you is also the God who protects you. Do not imagine that you passed the trial only to be left uncovered. No, if anything, your endurance has placed you under an even greater shield. Heaven smiled not just to applaud, but to surround. And in this new chapter, divine protection will walk with you like a shadow that never leaves. Understand this. When you are chosen, you are also marked. And when you are marked, you become a target. Darkness does not chase those who pose no threat. But take comfort, for if opposition increases, it only means your anointing has expanded. The enemy may try, but his efforts will crumble against the wall God has built around you. For the Lord Himself is your fortress, your refuge, your dwelling place. This protection is not abstract. It is real. It manifests in ways you may not even see. How many accidents were diverted before you arrived? How many traps were dismantled before you walked into them? How many conversations meant to harm you dissolved before they ever reached your ears? You may not realize it, but you have been walking under invisible guardrails, and they will only increase in this season. Imagine a hedge of fire around you. This is what the Spirit has placed upon your life. Every arrow launched in secret, every curse spoken in envy, every scheme whispered in darkness meets that fire and is consumed. You need not fear the plots of man, nor the whispers of demons. What heaven smiles upon, heaven also protects. But there is more. Protection is not only defense, it is guidance. The Spirit will nudge you away from wrong turns, shield you from counterfeit opportunities, and preserve your steps from snares hidden in plain sight. Sometimes the closed door is not rejection, it is protection. Sometimes the delay is not neglect, it is safety. God's hand covers in ways that feel frustrating in the moment but will reveal themselves as mercy later. Even in your sleep, you are not alone. Angels are assigned to you. Ministering spirits go before you, surrounding your dwelling, covering your loved ones. The same God who neither slumbers nor sleeps is watching over every detail. This is why peace can guard your heart like armor, because you know your covering is not fragile. It is eternal. So breathe deeply, and let this assurance sink in. You do not walk into this next chapter unguarded. You walk into it escorted. Every step you take is observed by heaven's watchful eyes. Every move you make is shielded by heaven's invisible hand. No weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue that rises against you will be silenced. This is your inheritance, not just blessing, but protection. Not just provision, but assurance. You are not left exposed. You are surrounded. And because of that, you can move forward boldly, confidently, fearlessly, knowing the same God who smiled at your test will smile over every step ahead. There is a sacred shift that happens when a test becomes testimony. What once felt like weight on your shoulders becomes wings on your back. And this, right now, is where your story is turning. The very thing that made heaven smile has also become the catalyst for your transformation and the fulfillment of long-awaited promises. Picture yourself standing in the mirror, but the reflection staring back is no longer the same. The eyes carry depth that pain carved, but joy has now filled. The countenance radiates a light that no storm could extinguish. The posture is upright, steady, unshaken. This is what happens when heaven confirms you are no longer the person who entered the test. You are someone renewed, reborn, refined by fire yet unburned. The transformation first happens within. Peace, once fragile, now runs deep like a river. Where fear once dictated your choices, courage has taken the throne. Where doubt once whispered, faith now roars. Your identity has shifted from survivor to overcomer, from wanderer to warrior, and this inner change begins to overflow into every outer dimension of your life. Doors that were locked tight suddenly open. Opportunities once withheld now find you. Conversations that used to drain you are replaced by divine appointments that propel you forward. Even your environment begins to echo the new frequency you carry. People notice it. Some are drawn to it. Others are unsettled by it. But all must acknowledge it. For the mark of heaven cannot be ignored. Fulfillment is not only about blessing you receive, it is about who you become through it. The promises of God are not simply treasures placed in your hand. They are transformations written into your soul. When provision arrives, it does not just meet your need, it expands your capacity to give. When recognition comes, it does not inflate your ego, it magnifies the one who sustained you. When destiny unfolds, it does not end your journey, it begins a new chapter of influence and impact. This fulfillment will be undeniable. The prayers whispered in tears will bloom into testimonies shouted with joy. The visions you tucked away will suddenly manifest in real time, shocking even you with their clarity. The blessings will not be subtle, they will be visible, tangible, unmistakable. And the timing will be so precise, so beyond coincidence, that you will know without doubt, this is the Lord's doing, and it is marvelous in my eyes. But fulfillment is not only for you, it flows through you to others. Your transformation becomes their inspiration. Your testimony becomes their hope. The smile of heaven upon your obedience becomes the seed of faith in those who watch you. You will see it. People who doubted you will be convicted. People who mocked you will be humbled. People who nearly gave up will find strength because of your story. This is the moment where your personal breakthrough becomes a collective blessing. The kingdom advances not just by what you endured, but by what you now embody. You are not simply a receiver of promises, you are a carrier of prophecy. Wherever you go, the evidence of heaven's smile will follow. So lift your head, take in this truth. The trial has ended, and the transformation is complete. Fulfillment is no longer a distant hope, it is a present reality. The world will soon see what heaven already celebrated, the fruit of a life tested, proven, and crowned with glory. Now we arrive at the seal. The moment where words are no longer just information but impartation. You have walked through the test, you have carried the weight, and you have seen how heaven smiled. But this is the part where the promise is sealed over your life, not just as prophecy, but as reality. Take these affirmations into your spirit. Speak them aloud. Let them become your rhythm, your declaration, your anchor in the days ahead. Affirmation 1. I am approved by heaven, and no voice on earth can revoke it. Every time doubt whispers, every time the past tries to speak, declare it again. I am approved, I am sealed, I am chosen. Affirmation 2. The test did not break me, it revealed me. You are not defined by what tried to destroy you. You are defined by the strength, the faith, the endurance that rose up from within you. Affirmation 3. The blessing prepared for me cannot be stopped, delayed, or denied. What God has set in motion cannot be undone. No scheme, no jealousy, no darkness has the authority to block what heaven has released. Affirmation 4. I walk forward covered, empowered, and transformed. You are not stepping into this next chapter alone. You are stepping with angels, with favor, with authority, with the very presence of God surrounding you. And now, hear this blessing spoken over your life. May the peace of God guard your heart like armor. May the joy of heaven fill you in the quiet hours. May doors open before you that no man can shut, and may every counterfeit path be exposed before you take a step. May your voice carry the sound of truth, your hands carry the weight of blessing, and your feet walk only on paths prepared for you by the Lord. I bless your mind to remain clear, your heart to remain pure, and your spirit to remain steadfast. I bless the work of your hands, the words of your mouth, and the journey of your soul. I bless you to see the fulfillment of every hidden promise and to walk in the testimony of every prayer once whispered in tears. Go forward with confidence, not because of who you are, but because of whose you are. The test is complete, the verdict is sealed, the prophecy is alive. Heaven smiled at you, and heaven will walk with you into everything that comes next.